What's going on, you fuckers? MOD back with another fucking video. And just hold on. I'm gonna fix this so the mic's not bouncing around. Using my headset tonight. Sorry guys. Hopefully this isn't gonna be too loud. Yeah, there we go. There we go. Sorry. Okay, so how you guys doing? It's actually a really fucking nice night out here tonight. I'm going to get some beer. So I want to talk to you guys about the mentality of elitism, because it seems like a lot of fucking people really don't know what makes us the way that we are, what makes elitists the way that they are. So I'm going to explain it from my point of view and why I am the way I am when it comes to this topic. First of all, we got to go back to when I first discovered metal, and this was like when I was in my I was young. I was like basically an infant. I've got pictures from my youth. My mom took of me in my Jolly Jumper listening to fucking Iron Maiden, Girl School, Motorhead, fucking Priest, Sabbath, Bathory, Diamond Head, early Metallica. I mean, this was all when I was, a fucking kid, man. Very young age. And I grew up with stuff like ZZ Top as well, and lots of hard rock bands, classic rock bands like The Doors, Clearance Clearwater Revival, fucking lots of early shit like that, But when I was younger, I was a little bit more accepting of different genres. And it's not that I'm not accepting of, like, if somebody wants to like rap, hey, I like old school fucking rap like NWA and shit like that. With nothing wrong with that stuff at all. That's good shit. But when we're talking about metal, even from a young age, I had a very, very strong opinion about what I listened to and what it meant to me, how it made me feel, how it made me think, and the strength that I got from the music itself, the strength to be, different, not a fucking follower or sheep, the strength to think for myself, to be a critical thinker, all of these wonderful things that came from metal. And as I got older and older, God, I'm going to be 43 next month. Going to do a celebration stream, by the way, for anybody who gives a fuck. Guess whoever will be there will be there. Be subscribers only, obviously. But as I got older and older, I started to realize the spirit of this music was slowly getting sucked out of it in order to create more of a mass appeal. And I would say this really, really began in 2008 and 9 and 10 with the advent and the popularity with deathcore and metalcore. And of course you have slamming, whatever the fuck, slam metal or whatever the hell that shit is. And it wasn't as big of an elitist as I was 10 years ago. Even 10 years ago I was, but I didn't like any of that garbage, but I mean, it wasn't really something that I was constantly being exposed to, because it wasn't being talked about like it is now. And it just exploded like a fucking disgusting parasite that laid its eggs all over the place. And now it's like a fucking cesspool of androgynous fucking pussies that don't know what they're doing, what they're going for, what their identity is. Everything about those two genres has zero redeeming qualities whatsoever. At least to me. I've tried listening to deathcore. I've tried listening to metalcore. When I was younger, like in my early 20s, I fucked around with a little bit of Killswitch Engage for like a month, and then I was like, this isn't for me. And I don't really have anything against that band per se. I don't. Got nothing against that band. But I'm not going to listen to it. It isn't something I'm going to go out and buy. It isn't something I'm going to fucking praise to the ends of the earth and say, yeah, I love this is good shit. Because I simply don't like it. But one thing I will give as a pass for some of this shit is that that band did have an interesting new sound at the time. I mean, they took influences from bands like Converge and Integrity, etc. And then they added like their own twist or whatever the fuck they did to make it their own, which is like, hey, okay, fine, whatever. It's not for me, but whatever. But then I started to notice that all of this androgynous-ridden fucking boy band garbage just kept gaining more and more momentum. And it overshadowed the real shit. In a lot of ways, it overshadowed the true fucking mean-spirited, dark, evil fucking metal. You know, it overshadowed... It even overshadowed creativity, because a lot of these fucking bands, they're not creative. They're just taking parts of things that have already been done and they're regurgitating them. But the difference is, it doesn't even sound like it's being executed properly. I mean, if you're gonna rip off a band or bands or a genre, at least know what the fuck you're doing when you're attempting to rip them off. None of them do. None of them do. And I think I'm more talking about deathcore, because metalcore I hate too, but not the way I hate deathcore. I think deathcore is one of the most fucking retarded musical genres on the face of the goddamn earth. It might as well be pop music, because that's the arrangements, that's the level of creativity, that's the level of depth that goes into that shit. They're just boy bands with guitars. It's basically like, you know those fucking bands that young girls listen to? I don't know. Like those young teeny bopper chicks that like fucking One Direction and NSYNC and Backstreet Boys and all that other shit. It's basically that, but instead of playing pop beats, they play guitars and drums. That's really the only difference. And they try to squeal like pigs for whatever fucking reason. They have to have pig squealing, which I think is the most juvenile, ridiculous, stupid fucking thing I've ever heard. And it doesn't need to be there. It doesn't add anything to the music. It does not enhance any of the creativity. There's no innovation there whatsoever. And that's the entire genre of deathcore summed up. No innovation. Just rip off, rip off, rip off, rip off, rip off, rip off, rip off. Rinse, repeat. Recycle, rinse, repeat. Recycle, rinse, repeat. Rinse, repeat. Rinse, repeat. Rinse, repeat. And that's what it is. And so the mentality of elitism from me comes from the fact that I don't want this shit to exist, and I don't want anybody out there associating that with metal if they choose to come up and talk to me. I don't want somebody asking me if I like Lorna Shore or Job for a Cocksmoker, you know. Or fucking, I don't know, what are some other shitty deathcore bands? All Shall Perish, yeah, if only they would fucking perish. Okay? But I don't want people associating that with metal if they're gonna come up and talk to me and ask me questions about the band on my shirt, for example, Melgoth or Carcinoid or Grave, once I get a Grave long sleeve, or Blasphemy, Zaster, Leviathan, Draugr, Mayhem, Marduk, fucking Vector. I got a lot of band shirts. Fucking Cryptworm, you know. I don't want to be asked those fucking questions because somebody is too ignorant to realize that the bands that I just mentioned have nothing to do with deathcore or metalcore. See, that is the problem right there. Because it sets a dangerous precedent. And that precedent becomes set because that's the shit that becomes popular, deathcore and metalcore, and then what ends up happening? Well, then you get all these fucking goons that think that's what metal is. Instead of actually learning and listening to the bands that actually are metal. So my elitist attitude comes from wanting to get that shit out of metal and going back to the true spirit of it being feared, offensive, and for select people only. Because let's face it, all these metalcore and deathcore fucking clowns sparkle. They sparkle. They're all clean cut and look so handsome and proper. They look like normal everyday people off the street. That's not metal. The whole point of metal is to be different. To be individual and different. An outsider, an outcast, a lone wolf. And that's another reason I'm against moshing. I did talk about that in another video. So if metal elitism makes me an asshole, then I'll wear that badge proudly. Because I just don't give a fuck if I'm looked on favorably by people who listen to that shit. Peace.